Hello, Suzanne from Suzanne Scarrow Live here. Thanks for joining me today. So I want to talk to you today about 3 ways that you can stop caring about things that do not matter. How much energy do you waste each day worrying about something that hasn't happened yet and actually might never happen? Or how often do you find yourself chewing over something from the past and wishing that it was different in some way? I know so many people do that. I've done it myself, and I wouldn't be surprised if you do it too. Or do you find yourself constantly trying to figure out something that you actually have no control over? So all of those things add up to an awful lot of wasted energy, your energy wasted. So no wonder you often feel drained or physically or mentally exhausted. So let's think about what you can do to avoid that energy drain. This is the important part of it. So the first thing is to really get clear about what you're focused on. So it might be that you need to write it down. If you're worried about something in the future that might or might not happen, then you're really putting your focus on that thing that you don't want. And when you put your focus on something, that's where your energy goes, and your energy is creative. So if you're putting your focus on something that you don't want, something that you're worrying about in the future that maybe will happen, maybe it won't, your energy is actually going in to create the thing that you do not want. Now, I know you don't want to do that. You're doing that by default. It's just a human thing, but you definitely don't want to be doing it because you want to be creating the opposite of it. And I'll talk about how you do that later on. But once you understand that your energy goes where your focus is, and therefore you're creating the very thing you're focused on, doesn't that want to make you want to take your power back and focus on the outcome that you really would like to happen? Now, I know it can be hard to do that because you don't have the evidence of it. In your past, it hasn't worked out for you. You've got limiting beliefs that stop you from believing it and so on. But maybe if you could just trust me enough to tell you that it really is possible for you to create what you want, but you have to kind of imagine it first before it exists and put your focus on how good it would feel to have it as though it already exists. Now, that's not easy to do, but you can do it. And when you start creating from that point, you start creating what you want rather than what you don't want. You start deliberately creating rather than creating by default. And that's a much better place for you to be. So feel what happens. So let's think, you just focus on one thing, maybe the thing that you worry about the most. I'll just assume for a moment that it's not enough money, because that's a very common one. So it might be not enough health, or it might be not enough love, or something like that. Whatever your thing is, I want you now to shift your focus deliberately to what it would feel like to have that in your life as though it already exists. So if it's not enough money, imagine that you've got more than enough money. More than enough money to pay the bills, plenty to give away, plenty in the bank. Every time you look at the bank, you get a delicious surprise because there's so much money in there. Just close your eyes and feel how good that feels. How does it feel? Do you feel the difference in the way you feel when you're focusing on that? Now, it might feel a little bit like a fairy tale, or a little bit like, you're faking it or something like that. It's not faking it. This is creation. This is you creating what you want rather than what you don't want. And the more you can put your focus on what you want as though it already exists, the more you will experience that. You are actually putting creation energy into that thing that you want. Whereas if you're focused on the opposite side, you're putting creation energy into the thing you don't want, which is why it shows up so much, because we're much better at doing that. But you can get good at deliberately creating what you want as well. Feel that shift, and just know that in the journey, as you're learning to do that, you're going to feel better and better anyway and you're on the way to a better and better life. So you're feeling relief, 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 joy, happiness, abundance, all of those things. They're all there for you. When you notice that you're not feeling good, let that be the indicator to you that you need to change the direction of your thoughts. And now we have about 60,000, 70,000 thoughts a day, so you're not going to be able to really be aware of what you've been thinking so much, but you will always, always be aware of what you're feeling. And if your mood drops, if you're feeling not so good, that's your indicator that you're focused on something, thinking about something or doing something that is not taking you in the right direction. It's taking you away from what you want. So we've got a really great GPS system which tells us if we're going in the right direction, we're feeling good, or the wrong direction when we're feeling not so good. Okay? Unfortunately, it's easy to be distracted by that undesired outcome, but you are in control of where you put your focus. So practice and practice. Take your power back in this. You've got this. Okay. Now, if you find yourself chewing over something from the past and wishing it had been different in some way, there's a tool called Emotional Freedom Techniques. I use it all the time with clients. You can take the sting out of those past events. So let's imagine perhaps it was a broken relationship and there's a lot of pain or hurt still there. You can do this tapping thing, and you'll see me do it. Come onto my website. There's plenty of instruction about it. You can actually take whatever it was that was upsetting you about the past, you can tap it and clear it so that it no longer comes into your thoughts. You don't have to have that in your mind. It's just draining you of energy. And actually, this kind of rolls over into the next point. There is no control over what's happened in the past, but there is control over how you feel about it. You can control that by tapping and clearing that energy out of your energy field. Now, the next one is, do you find yourself constantly trying to figure out something that you actually have no control over? This is a little bit the same as that past point. So you need to get real about this. If you have no control over it, if you can't change the thing, then there's absolutely no point in wasting energy over it. A lot of people carry guilt, mother guilt, or guilt that they've hurt somebody, or guilt that they've done something wrong in the past. But guilt is such a low vibration and a wasted energy, and it doesn't solve anything. You don't actually solve the problem by feeling guilty about it. So do the best you can to make amends for it if you feel like you've done something wrong, and then tap and clear the feeling using emotional freedom techniques. We'll use it in a moment, so you've got a practice of it. And get rid of it. Do not waste energy on something that you've got no control over. If you're worried about somebody else in your life, perhaps it's a child or a parent or whatever, a partner even, and you have no control over what's going on for them, because really you have no control over anybody but yourself, and even then there's not a lot of control. So if you're putting energy into that, it's wasted energy, and it will drain you, and then you'll feel exhausted. And remember too, if you're trying to understand something, you're actually standing under it, and the weight of that thing can crush you. Okay, so you do not want to be trying to understand something. It's just a waste of energy. So let's do a quick tapping round so that you'll have some idea. Think about a thing that you've been worried about and tap on the karate chop. Give it a number out of 10 actually for how worried you've been. Even though I've been worried about this thing for many years and my worry doesn't seem to do anything to change it, I choose to accept myself anyway. Even though I've been worried about this thing, and all the worrying that I've done has not made it better. In fact, it may have actually made it worse. I deeply and completely accept myself anyway. I know that I'm a good person, and I know that I'm trying to do the right thing. But all this worry is just such a waste of my energy, and it drains my energy. On the crown, all this worry, it's such a waste of energy. Outside corner of the eye, all this worry, under eye. I've been wasting so much energy on it. Under nose, and it does not serve me. Under lip, and it doesn't seem to make any difference to the thing. collarbone. I wonder what would happen. Underarm, about 4 inches down under your arm. I wonder what would happen if I could release this energy. Karate, and be completely free of it. Karate. I think I'll try to release this worry and let it go. Now, one round may make a little bit of difference, but you might need to do a number of rounds to really release that energy. So take a big breath now, see where it is, and then repeat that process, just inserting your own words, whatever your words are about that. But know that you can be free of that worry, you can be free of the guilt, you can be free of all sorts of negative emotions that you've been carting around, draining your energy. So take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon.